fresh. Let me get my note. Lucky. Lucky you with Amy. Amy is an insurance company in Australia. We take a moment to check the. Maybe we check it later. But that is a DC motor. I hope I have not damaged the DC motor. Universal ground. That little flying wonder is a underpower DC motor and multiply the unit with the principle of switching transistor, DC motor and batteries. Heavily multiplied it. It's a toy. There's few other units. So we're going to look at the subject of antimatter. And very quickly, we are going to pull straight out from this graph, this generator. And this is his generator. Since the discovery when Newton observed the falling object, such as an apple, and gravity has been discovered. It's the same occurrence when you observe the fallen object, such as a magnet, with a conductive material present, such as a aluminum tube. Any object would physically fall, but not in this case. The presence of the universal ground try it again. However, whatever in whatever way you want to try to explain it, the object seems to be floating and scientifically levitating effortlessly. So what is going on? You discover gravity. Is someone asks you, show me the levitation in the universe. Suppose that in universally everything is floating. You do not need to show levitation. So suppose it is a common knowledge that everything levitates. Show me levitation. You were shown a piece of permanent magnet. Is a permanent magnet a natural agent of antimatter? And we open up a black box, a free energy device. This is what you find within the black box. Simply an array of resistor. What if you open up the free energy device? Absolutely nothing but a vacuum tube. The purpose of the vacuum tube is to generate and create a plasma. The purpose of the black box within it absolutely have nothing, only the natural pathways. is it important to create alternatives apart from the physical ground? You create a universal ground for objects to go back to its imaginary positives. Neither the positive nor the negative is physical. Both of them are imaginary. That's why a universal ground is introduced to address the load of the energy returns safely to the circuit, and there is our little hardware. We provide a pair of wire in our hardware. This pair of wire, due to the nature, there is only has three noticeable spiral in this coil, that this coil need to make adjustments and compensate for the odd number, that there would be only one reality, but two alternatives, that both is matter and is antimatter is present, and this hardware will have to find a way to coexist. Pair of wire, clearly that for this hardware to function, a unification must be achieved. If you observe closely, there is precisely this formula here. The formula that is substitutes for antimatter is the same, only our understanding. See these two pairs of lines, only our understanding now has been made, has been understood, the way we approach and resolve the matter now is different. The red and the white line, these two, equal and opposite, are the same: white, red, white, red. But this one is different. So if you put it accordingly, there we go. The constant of light is defined into positives and negatives. We look into the time-space plotting. Instead of viewing the light as a defining light in a horizontal and vertical relationship by using two coordinate systems to handle two-dimensional time, space. With a mathematical approach and scientific approach, we use the old-fashioned teaching. The first will be the last. The last will be the first. XY is flipped. Instead of the horizontal and vertical relationship, when we define light, what is light? How we define time-space is flipped. Instead of time-space, now the time-space will first become the last become the first. XY flipped. Nothing changes. Still two coordinate systems. By this scientific and mathematical approach, we create a third dimension instead of introducing a z-axis here. So a simple time space is moving out into a circle. The first half of the circle and the next half of the circle will be its natural mirror image. There is an empty plot. The empty plot could accommodate your wildest ideas. If you like 6 base systems, if you like 9 base systems such as rodent, if you would like to extend it beyond in a 12 base system, a pair of line, a pair with a flux gap, even an odd number. The universe is full of opportunity and full of room and full of enough alternative option for you to create your own reality. So we are interested in this generator that we have taken out from the craft. This generator is going to be used accompanied with the introduced variable universal ground. So energy will naturally follow the low resistance pathways. In this case, an alternating current is miraculously produced by a series of resistors which is not advised, and alternatives for the currents to return. In this case, a capacitor is sandwiched together. So with the presence of hardware, and we want to look at how much this little generator that's taken into the account of the mass and its anti-mass representations. They are in equal and opposite directions, and the presence of the universal ground that will ground precisely in an alternative fashions. Also the pathway, the natural pathways of infinities. And so basically it's saying that, are you saying that in a very simple term, straightforward, whatever that could generate a magnetical field, since permanent magnet seems to have the anti-mass properties, floating in mid-air, levitating. Anything that has a magnetical field that could spin is a very well experiment that could do something unexpected. This little guy has a magnetical field, it spin, it has a mass. When it spin, will it fly? Will it flow? Will it levitate? Not quite, because the energy and the overall strength of the system is not sufficient, but it will stand upright. It's something. So this little guy, when it charged, it will light up. The hardware is is original, but the control circuit is taken into account with the universal ground in at any given time, any given space, at, and all possibility at any given point and any given space. And it gives the capability of handling large energy, large flow of energy in any given space. So there would be the unit. So it is just experiments to put everything together, since they are readily this yoga is quite interesting. Only if it could achieve the breathtaking magic, becoming a flying wonder. That's why in the beginning of the video is showing a flying DC motor. So it's quite breathtaking to look at. It's a gyroscope, obviously. Maybe one day we will turn this gyroscope into something else. So I would not. It's quite dazzling, right? Now, in your wildest dream, if you let it go, it will just fly all over the place. No, it will not. It's a gyroscope. It maintains its upright position. That's 90 degree. 90 degree is believed to have a significant pathway for the energy. Precisely why 90 degrees is also believed that 90 degrees is where the antimatter, the localized gravity field will be created, where, or within this concept of gravity field is the whole parameter of the mass will be moving according to a same speed, same space-time parameter. So it is believed that levitation is occurring as we speak. Just we have not noticed it. So it's a huge gyroscope with a dazzling effect. So we will not have a space to free it and demonstrate it, but it's a gyroscope. So we will wait and see till we have these guys hooked up. This guy already has the typical connection, which is a 3-point system. And this is a typical free energy circuit. A pair of wire, it would have first and second. In total 4 connections, but we will introduce a common and A and B, or maybe if you like a primary or secondary. In practice, we would only handle 3 free terminals. Also, there's another way to view light. As the 3 components is a 3 components a relationship of trinities, a symbol, its directions, and and the and the third dimensional components that has been created. This is another symbol. It's interesting that we wait till the result of the generator we pull out from the graphs.